Well, it would be the first time Dark Souls 2 lives up to anything, according to many people in the community, but I, for one, really love this game, and I know that the people that are going to be doing the runs today are going to showcase just how amazing it can be and how much fun it can be to run, which is the most important part.
Yeah, we're going to see lots of different playstyles, builds, routes, everything, even different versions of the game, I believe. So we're going to be experiencing lots of different things to see here.
Right, so walk us through that. Why does one of our runners have a different version of the game? And what
So
is the difference exactly for those of us that are uninitiated?
So there is basically two different versions of Dark Souls 2. There is, as you see on the screen, you see three runners are doing Scholar of the First Sin, and we have Gino playing Dark Souls 2 Vanilla. In Vanilla, there's like multiple different enemies, different item pickups, um, and some really key items actually change positions. So yeah, we're going to see many different things coming from Gino here. So if the game does look quite different, I think it's quite noticeable when you're in areas like the hub Majula. You're going to see the skybox is different and lots of other textures.
Pigeon, between you and I, which one do you prefer? Have you run
Oh,
them
Scholar,
both?
Scholar, 100%, Scholar baby,
Have you
Scholar
ever
till I
done
die.
hitless on vanilla?
No,
I have never done hitless on vanilla, and in fact, I feel robbed.
have you
Last
ever
year,
played?
when
I'm sure you've played Vanilla though,
oh yeah,
right?
no, I played on release. I played as much as a
Yeah.
human can play it. But when it comes to all kinds of challenge runs, I definitely didn't do those until Scholar was out. And now you look back and you look at people going into the DLCs without having to brave all
Uh,
these crazy areas to get these extremely annoying keys, and you feel robbed, dude. It's like,
yeah. Oh
what?
yeah.
You get there for free? I have to go murder like three giants, then do my chores, then oh,
Fight some
it's really
salamanders. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
it does
each
feel like a
version
scam.
does come with its ups and downs,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
I know many of these runners have their preferences, but it seems like other than Gino, we'll see Scholar across the board.
Yep. Okay. So I think we're almost ready to get going.
Yep, we might just give the starting shout.
Yeah.
Pigeon,
Okay.
take it off.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll give a countdown from 3. Good luck to all the runners. We'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Go for it.
Okay, the message is off, and in just mere moments, our runners will be starting. Somebody in the chat asks, "Is this any percent?" And the answer is yes, but also kinda. We do have a few runners that have self-imposed rules and self-imposed strategies and routes. And since the start of the runs are all basically the same, maybe we can take this time to talk about a bit about them. Pigeon, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So I was watching Gino just now, playing his route, which is by far the most different. Not only
Yep.
because of the version of the game he's playing, but he's also planning on a few different things, which I won't spoil yet. But you may see it actually pop up here in a moment.
One funny
Um,
thing that you saw our runners do just now, some of them remove their clothes, their starting clothes, just to get stamina that little bit faster. If you do that, you do save like maybe less than half a second. It is really, really crazy the level to which some people have optimized this already, even at the start.
yeah. So the stamina that we get at the start there is pretty negligible, but yeah, you're right. Staves maybe half a second. Now, interesting point here that I want to make. We've actually seen all 4 runners pick different starting classes,
Yes.
which is super cool. So we
Right.
see Deadeyeeee pick up the bandit, who has very low ADP, which is a stat in Dark Souls 2, which affects your iframes. Um, we saw Beth. She picked the Explorer, who starts
Yeah.
with some low damage, but a lot of consumable items, which is going to help her along the way.
Right. hmm
Some buffs, some bombs, etc.
I
Ritual
believe
picked the
Gino picked the only class at level one because he, I believe, intends to do this at level one.
yeah.
That
Gino's
is
doing
crazy.
a no leveling run with the base level, or also known as soul level 1. Ritual picked up the sorcerer class instead. Uh,
And
so we're going to be seeing
we can
some
also
casting
infer
coming through.
why. Is that so?
Sorry.
We can also infer why this is the case. What is in store for Rituals Run? What are they going to try to do here?
So Ritual is running straight to Dragon Rider here, which is the easiest boss in the game by a long, long shot. Um, the boss literally will walk off the cliff if you time your run correctly. So I believe not Gino, sorry, Ritual will be going to Dragon Rider, killing Dragon Rider, and then resummoning the boss to kill it again just for some souls to
Oh,
get off the ground. I believe
really?
we're going to see a double Dragon Rider start.
That
Yeah.
is really interesting. That's a really obscure strategy that you don't see very often. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they're going to try to do a hex oriented build for the run.
Yeah, so Ritual will pick up two different chimes, I believe, or two different catalysts for his weapons. He will pick up
Okay.
the staff from Felkin. What's that called? Sun something staff, maybe?
Oh, yeah, the sunset staff, correct.
Sunset staff, that's it. And I'm sure he'll be picking up the chime that you can
The
buy from
chime.
Felkin
Now,
as well.
question, Pigeon. Why does he pick up two different catalysts to cast the same type of spell? He just forgot to read the wiki? What's going on?
So there's basically two different types of hexes. So
What?
not only is he limiting himself to hexes, he also has to upgrade two different weapons to even be able to use them efficiently.
What is this game?
Um,
Who made this game? That is the
yeah, I
craziest
have no
thing
idea who
I've ever
designed
heard in
this.
my
It
life.
sounds terrible. So he'll pick up a staff which allows him to cast.
No, 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 no,
Thing.
no, 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 Ritual.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
oh, he get the baby jump.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
So
he Ritual tried to take a very stylish shortcut that is 100% okay to take in your typical casual runs, which maybe shaves off just a couple seconds compared to just running around. And it does look very, very stylish. But as you said, this game has a tendency to sometimes just cut your jumps short. And I'm not sure that's exactly what happened. I do think he ran a little bit into a wall, but yeah, unfortunately, he did die there, and that was a completely unnecessary death that I'm sure
yeah,
they're kicking themselves in the butt for. Meanwhile, Gino has braved the first. Oh, they do it correctly now. Amazing stuff. Meanwhile, Gino, as well as Beth, are braving right now the first of the fire of the fallen giants. And oh, dude, I love that you need to throw that alluring skull from
that
behind
is just
cover.
that is
Yes,
unfair.
one arrow found its way to the elbow of a little character. That's so sad. That's why you need to take a little bit of cover. Very, very aggressive though. You can see Gino and Beth both going through this really, really quickly.
Yeah, Deadeye taking a little bit more of a cautious route, which I fully commend him for. He's picked up a couple of
Yeah,
extra skulls.
notice that Deadeye indeed dodges that arrow by just
Yeah,
hiding for a little bit while he throws that consumable item. I believe that is the correct way. Otherwise, you do run that risk.
there is a strat that has actually been made where you can run through the entire forest without using a single skull
Ooh.
consistently. I remember back in the day, Ots, you ran I think it was part of a hitless tournament actually. As a tiebreaker, you went to Pursuer.
Yes, I
I,
do. I do remember that. Yeah. Damn,
I, I
you have some mad memory, man.
Yeah, I
That
remember that
is
well. There has been a strat that's been devised since then, where you can get through the area consistently without taking a hit.
that is very impressive. Okay, so lots of things going on. We saw our first boss kill from Ritual. And
Yeah,
also, Gino is killing an NPC to grab their helm. Now, this helm has a special property that gives you a little bit of extra dexterity, if I remember correctly. And that alone allows Gino to use a weapon that he otherwise would not be able to wield without leveling up. And remember, he's not leveling up.
yeah.
Beth opening up a shortcut, which is nice safety. Oh, doing a running jump to completely stun the monster ahead. Oh, that's so fun. I've never seen anyone do that.
Deadeye on his way here. He's going to be the first one, even though going with slightly peachier strats. He's going to be the first one to get to the last giant boss here.
Oh,
Um,
that's very unfortunate. We do
oh,
see two hits
oh,
back to back.
Yeah,
from
it's
these
2 hits,
very
but
nasty spear hollows.
the enemies stagger you so much that the second hit is unavoidable at that point.
I
So
believe so. Yeah.
we can definitely count that as only 2 hits in total for Beth.
Hmm.
Now, Gino's going an interesting way here. He's going to pick up the crossbow.
Uh huh.
In SL1, you do not get to use a bow until much later in the run, just because of stat requirements. So to get around that, for range damage, he'll be opting to use a crossbow, which is slower. It's got lower DPS and lower range, I believe.
Yes.
All for the benefit of having easier time of using it,
Right.
not having to level up.
That is absolutely correct. You also noticed that he had a ironclad enemy that the other players will not be facing, and that's because of the different version. Meanwhile, we have Deadeyeee with an extremely clean back and forth on the
Don't curse
last
it yet.
giant.
Don't curse it yet.
Oh, my bad, but I do think it's going
I
pretty
I
well.
believe.
I do believe as well. Ooh, cheeky, well done.
Ooh,
Beth
nice.
now
And he will
following the
dark. You'll notice
footsteps.
he'll dark sign out immediately to gain the souls once he's already warped.
What? Really? You can do that and still keep them?
Yeah. So you'll see here he
Oh
has
my
10,000 souls
goodness.
in his inventory.
Is that a recent discovery or am I just so out of the loop?
Mm, No,
My
you do have to dark sign immediately. But no, that's been used in speedruns for
wow,
some time, I think.
wow. I thought they just relinquished those cells. Beth doing an extremely run of the giant, and it seems like Gino is just about to catch up.
Yeah, that was a very quick giant. As I said earlier, because Beth has picked the explorer class, she gets extra resins at the start of the game, which
Mhm.
meant that her giant was much quicker than Deadeyee's.
Right, so resins in this game, for those of you unaware, are essentially the buffing item. It's what you call papers in Bloodborne, and what are they called in Sekiro? Humor me.
Um, it would be like an Echo Sugar or a Divine Confetti, right? I think confetti would be the best way. Yeah, sugars and confetti.
It's funny that those items have been in every iteration of the game.
It's a staple. They picked something that really works. You have to figure out
Okay.
if you want to use it for this boss or not, and
Oh,
yeah, done.
there are so many things going on. I love to see how the runners are braving through this segment, which is very
Yeah.
dangerous. Make no mistake, it's very dangerous. They're going right through, barely taking any
Oof.
precaution. I know I would take it a lot simpler. Beth not even looking behind. I love the confidence. Pursuer's gone, killed by the ballista, and if you missed it, Gino is about to do the exact same thing. Position yourself right, and then shoot, and the stun should keep him in place for long enough for that to work twice. Amazing. And I believe Ritual now is just done killing Felkin and picking up the necessary stuff to cast that one Dark Orb spell.
Yeah, and if you guys are paying close attention to what Ritual's doing, you'll have noticed there that he was actually menuing on the bonfire while he was warping out. Again, just another little quick trick that Ritual's doing to improve his time
Oh,
slightly.
but what is happening here? What's going on with this poor NPC? Who would hurt this poor thing?
Poor man. I'm sure
Well,
he could
you'll
do
see.
nothing wrong.
Yeah, you'll see soon that most of our characters are going to be looking the same because these clothes actually have a passive ability that is really handy. It increases the amount of souls. Goodness me, that you get when an enemy is defeated, and
Ooh.
that over the course of the run, my heart, over the course of the run, adds up to quite a significant amount. In fact, it's kind of an important. What is going on?
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus,
Jesus,
man.
Lord Almighty!
Ritual is just running through
Oh,
this area like full speedrun
okay.
strats.
All right. Okay, that was very well handled and extremely speedy. I don't know if my heart would be able to take all of that. That is crazy. That is literally the craziest thing. Dark,
This,
very important that Titanite drop included a dark shard that allows you to infuse weapons with dark. This in Dark Souls 2 applies to catalysts as well. So you can infuse catalysts to make them stronger when casting dark magic, aka
yeah,
hexes.
this probably would you say maybe about like a 15, 20% extra damage, something like that? Maybe more?
I know it's not enough to completely throw your run by going out of your way to pick one up, but it
Yeah,
definitely does help. It definitely
yeah.
does help. I think it's in the neighborhood of that. Yes. Also, it does weaken other types of damage. So if you wanted to cast different types of spells and you did that, you would be weakening the other types. But I don't think that's an issue since we have established that it's going to be hexes only on the ritual side. Meanwhile, we see Gino making handy use of that crossbow. Oh, never mind. Oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh, oh,
Apart
oh,
from
oh.
he's not bought any bolts for it, so while he has the crossbow, he's gonna have to hit the dogs with the crossbow rather than using any sort of ammunition
Yeah,
to do
no,
it at this point.
I believe it's only as a aiming tool right now. I'm guessing. I don't. Oh, I see the problem.
Oh,
He's. You see the problem, right?
ah,
He has
yeah,
messed
big
up,
problem.
or rather, RNG has messed up the barrel throw, and that barrel needs to stay. If that barrel breaks, his run is suddenly a lot more complicated. But he saved it,
Oh,
and
those
now
were
he can
some
reposition it
Olympic
and
level
then
throws.
explode it. That was amazing. That was really good. Otherwise, the dogs could have broken it, and that would have been bad. It would have been bad. It would have been a
Oh,
reset of the
it would
area.
have been, yeah, it would have been a bone out and do the whole area again.
Yeah. Now we see Beth do things the safe way, and instead of taking that fancy jump, now just going around it takes a few extra seconds, but it's very, very safe. There is a certain move that you can do around this character, like so, that prevents any chance of being hit, and we're going to see yet again the Dragon Rider being thrown off.
Deadeye is
And
going straight to rotten here. I believe this is the first one we're seeing, right?
wait a
Ritual's
minute,
not
you
made it
don't think
there
we'll do
yet.
a detour?
No, I don't think so.
Wow,
I think
that's going to be very interesting then.
it's going to be a +2 or 3 rapier, probably without a resin, so it's going to be
Right.
quite a slow run, but it's going to
Yeah.
give him a lot of levels to
Yeah.
sort of
Luckily, the
catapult
the
his run.
first Rotten does not have the monstrous HP that the other ones will have. Wait, wait, Beth is hitting
Not more NPC
Galicia.
killing.
Yeah. Wait, what is Beth doing with
Oh,
Galicia?
and we get one hit for Deadeye there.
Oh,
It
damn,
takes a
that is
really
very
unfortunate
unfortunate.
hit to a poison statue there, which some would argue is not a hit.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he
it's one of those strange rules that we have to come to a decision on. Oh my goodness, talking about the strange things. Oh, dear lord. It looks like it was just that. Did we get one or multiple hits there?
no, it was only one. It was just one.
Well, looks
He
like
he
that's gonna
miss
be it.
he misaimed the jump ever so slightly, which means that when he lands on the urn that's there, he instead of just canceling the roll, he basically accidentally rolled and sort of got caught.
Meanwhile, Ritual went through the same segment as everyone else in the Forest of the Fallen Giant. Funnily enough, he did not duck behind cover, but he threw the skull so early that he actually had actual time to dodge the incoming arrow, which was a perfectly good alternative. He's now going to just take the fall damage with the cat ring and just keep going through.
Yeah, keep on chugging. Deadeye's doing a very fast run here. Despite having the low damage,
Mhm.
he's rolling only when he needs to, and
Yeah,
sort of punishing with running attacks. The Rotten is particularly weak to the rapier. Thrust damage is not the Rotten's strong point. So he's beaten quite
yeah.
quickly, even with a low
That
level
that
weapon.
is that is a thing that distinguishes Dark Souls 2 from the other games, and I don't know if you'll agree. The other games have standard damage, then strike, then slash, then thrust. In Dark Souls 2, there's no standard damage. All damage is either pierce,
Yep.
slash, or strike. And enemies and bosses are a lot more susceptible to some of the like it makes a much bigger difference than in many of the other previous games. So an enemy that is resistant or weak to to one of these types, it is definitely something that you want to take into account for these runs and in a normal playthrough even. So yeah,
Yeah.
that
It's
damage
not
is great.
it's not something that's worth, as you said earlier with the Dark Knight Stone, it's not something that's worth completely rerouting to get a separate weapon for a boss, unless it's a huge problem boss. Uh, Mainly because the rapier in this game is just so good. Counter
Funnily
damage
enough,
in this
I
game.
think we will see an example of an extra weapon being used just for a single
Yes,
boss
yes, I
in
think you're right.
Geno's run.
Are you thinking Mirror Knight?
No, I'm thinking
No.
the well, I don't know if I want to get ahead of times, but he is going to rattle some skeletons later, And those skeletons are very resistant to thrust damage for
Oh,
obvious reasons. They don't have
yes.
flesh.
Yeah, your
But
rapier just goes straight through their rib cage.
yep, and it
That's
goes
why it
like
deals
click,
less
click, click,
damage.
click, click. It makes the funny rattling noise. So you don't want to do that. I believe strike damage might be used for that boss alone. I believe. So that's something we might see soon. Ritual absolutely destroying the giant, who, by the way, is weak to dark. So his HP melted like butter. Great job.
Yeah, and I think that's only a +1 weapon, so he's not even
Wow.
got like any further upgrades. It's pretty disgusting damage.
You did mention that Ritual has the added disadvantage to having to upgrade multiple catalysts. But we also didn't mention that these catalysts, I believe, are special type weapons that require special upgrade materials, and both share the same material. Am I right? It's
Um.
Titan. It's Twinkling Titanites for both. Oh my God! Ritual is about to do the
Oh.
craziest. I do. I am familiar with this
Oh.
little skip. This is something that you see in speedruns. This doesn't really save a lot of time now, but it will later. But more importantly, it gives him access to these two Twinkling Titanites, which was just a thing we were talking about. Ta-da!
Yeah, so Twinkling Titanites and a Fragrant Branch here makes the Giant Lord jump very worthwhile for Ritual to grab now. I believe the next area he'll be going to is
Oh,
probably Seldora,
Beth.
maybe?
Beth takes a hit on a very, very unfortunate push from a hollow in one of
Oh,
these drawbridges. Very unfortunate. There is a way to avoid this, but yeah, it's not something you can really afford to reliably do on a speed run type hitless run like this. Don't forget, everyone here is competing against the clock as well as trying to do it hitless.
yeah, the gutter is a mean section to run through, and
Mhm.
if you step out of line, many runs can fall here for sure.
We see Gino, meanwhile, going back to the start as if he wanted to remake his character, but it is for a very good reason. He will find a enemy here that can be killed rather quickly that drops a very important ring for the rest of the run. Meanwhile, Ritual is about to duke it out with the. Wait a minute, that was a completely different setup from all the other runners. That is very brave.
Yeah,
Massive props.
that's actually a speedrun strat that was found out fairly recently. If you manage to
Oh,
just run straight and then strafe just slightly left, the pursuer will line up perfectly with
wow.
the ballista.
Wow, that's incredible. Meanwhile, Gino achieve his goal of getting the stone ring. This ring makes every attack that you deal to enemies do more staggering, aka poise damage. This means that even a tiny arrow or bolt can make a big enemy falter, and it's a pretty significant deal when you
A
deal
lot.
little damage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Is it like 20 poise damage? It's like a whole extra attack
Yeah,
per
it
attack.
adds a flat number, which for a big hammer is not a big deal, but for a small little arrow that does like one points damage, it is a massive deal. And it also affects sorceries, believe it or not. Not that we'll be seeing any of that on Gino, but still.
And I'm sure that going back and grabbing the stone ring is too slow of a strat for Ritual to bother with, judging by
Oh wow.
the amount of speed we've seen from him.
Yeah, right. Oh, Beth, meanwhile, in the meantime, is invaded by the
Oh,
Forlorn, which adds a level of complexity and BSness to this little part that I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable dealing with myself. The Forlorn, as far as I know, will not follow you down here, but she will find him soon, very very soon, when she
oh,
has to go back up.
Oh, okay. So we're actually seeing some Shulver action here as well. So I believe Ritual is planning on going to Shulver. He's going to the
Uh
Giants
huh.
here where Beth is now,
Right.
and they're both going to be taking them out from a long, long distance. These Giants have some insane hitboxes that
Yes.
you do not want to get anywhere close to, like
No, no, no,
nowhere
no.
near. So
You do not want to play around these ridiculously um, big hitboxes in a normal way. Luckily, they are weak to dark, which he inflicts, and susceptible to poison, which he can now also inflict thanks to a really conveniently placed spell that he picked up just a few minutes prior.
yeah, just moments ago. Yeah.
This, I believe, is really what sets Dark Souls 2 apart from the other games. The sheer amount of variety that you can pick up, the sheer amount of weapons and spells that are just branching from the start, it's just so crazy. It's just so crazy. We see all four of these players sometimes converge, yes, but also have options to go in so many different areas. I really, really like it.
Yeah, and this is why I was really looking forward to this event. Seeing multiple different runs at the same time on the same game, I think is an amazing feat to watch. You know, if you were to tune into some other games, you would expect to
Yeah.
see it played in a certain way. DS2 is a special case, I think, where you can
Right. So,
have
little
a bit more fun.
recap: Ritual and Beth are both about Dawn killing the giants to get a particular key that grants access to the DLC, which is one of the ways that they can revive the same boss over and over and get eventually to the second half of the game. Meanwhile, Deadeye has picked up some extremely useful items from the Misty Forest, the Shaded Woods. I believe we saw them pick up the Chloranthy Ring. I'm sure you didn't
Yep.
miss that. And Gino is going through the same area that we saw Ritual visit, but not for a quick trip, mind you. He is here because this is his route. He will be going through this area, eventually going all the way to the Fire Keep, where he will kill the Firekeep main boss 4 times instead of the Rotten. This is a route that I myself tried to like do some time ago, and my conclusion was only do this if you're absolutely insane. This is extremely risky. Meanwhile, Beth has to deal now with the no, with the very very unfortunate um, randomly
Ooh, that's
appearing
yeah.
Forlorn,
Fall
adding
on
3
if
hits
if
to
you
the
get
ground.
fall
Yeah.
on in that position, there's really not very much you can do
Yeah.
other than wait out the 15-minute timer that fall on comes with. Um, we are seeing here Deadeye though taking out Najka, who absolutely just vanished in front of our eyes.
Nashka, who? Hello? What happened?
The
We blinked
rapier
for a
plus
second.
4 at this point with the extra damage rings that Deadeye picked up just absolutely vanishes.
Yeah.
So Deadeye will be
And
moving on
one of
now
one of the reasons
towards.
why the rapier does so much damage is something that is called the counter damage. Would you like to explain that, Vision? For
Yeah, so counter damage in Dark Souls 2 on the rapier in particular, counter damage. The rapier has 140% counter damage. So if your weapon hits for, let's say, 400 damage, then if the enemy is attacking you at the same time you're attacking them, you will deal an extra 40% bonus damage on top of the 400 flat that you already had. So getting counter hits is an incredibly important and valuable aspect of the weapon.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And most of these bosses have very lengthy animations where all throughout any hit you get in counts as a counter. Ritual deciding not to deal with the dogs and going straight for the bonfire resting. It is a risky strategy that I don't know if I would be comfortable doing myself, but definitely pays off because damn, that was fast.
Yeah,
And
doing
we
this
see
in an
that.
event is scary for sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Beth has to catch up all the way back to the area she got a hit on because she did not rest in the nearby bonfire. Is that the case? I believe that might
Yep,
be the case.
yep, that's right.
What
That
do
the
you think
bonfire
about
that
this? Should they take fewer risks, spare 5 seconds so that this cannot happen?
it depends what your aim is. I think if you're aiming for a completely hitless run, then I think it's fine to miss the bonfire. Um, reason being is you're not going to need to come back. But obviously, if you're wanting to, take a few more risks, be a little bit faster, then I suppose grabbing the bonfire is a peachy strat.
So there's so much going on. We got Deadeye going through a tricky area, but using some items to stay above the enemies. Ritual going through another tricky area. Notice that he's running a torch because this item will actually scare off these very nasty enemies. Uh, a scripted invasion event happening at Gino, but that's nothing to worry about. He is about to reach the Skeleton Lord, one of the coolest bosses in the game when it comes to
Y-
soundtracks. And this strike
Oh,
damage, I think, will really, really show. Look at that.
yeah. So Skeleton Lords, despite being weak to strike damage, is a very scary boss to deal with, especially on SL1 in a fast run
Yeah.
like this.
It's
Gino is
also
obviously
very
making it.
different in vanilla, you remember?
Yes, yeah, yeah. There's more bone wheels in the vanilla fight that Gino is doing here. But Gino is making this look fairly simple at the moment. He's got plenty of alluring skulls, which the boss will be drawn to.
Mhm.
So hopefully he can clean this out with a few firebombs.
That is you are definitely right. He made that look so simple and it's really that's really funny. The item comes from behind the character and he actually hit a skeleton behind him, which is very very funny. Skeleton's looking at the ceiling, checking for any leaks. And meanwhile, he's just going to clean it up. Like, okay, this is the easy part arguably, but the start must be really really clean. Those big skeleton lords are super super scary. If any of them manages not to die right away, the things can get a lot more complicated. Talking about another boss that gets more complicated as time goes on, we have the Flexile Sentry, which Ritual just reached. It's a boss where the water level rises and slowly suffocates you and makes you slower and slower and slower, but it doesn't seem like we're gonna see much of that. He's
No,
been poisoned and he's gonna die soon.
yeah, Ritual just pounding into this boss here. Deadeye did clean out fighting congregation here, Magus and
Yeah.
congregation. He's going in this area here to collect some more upgrade materials for his weapons, obviously to make the rest of the run easier and faster for him.
Mhm.
But I think while we're seeing a rotten fight and a running section, I think now might be a good time for some donations, maybe.
Oh, that would be so lovely. Let's have a look.
Let's see, what have we got?
I mean to do $25 and the 05 is bugging me now. Thank you so much, Sal, for both of your donations. Hold up. We also have to thank
We got
Did we acknowledge Hobbs' donation?
yeah, I think the Hobbs donation is locked at the top for being the biggest. Of course, he has to steal the show here. But we got a $20 donation from Michaela, just with a love heart. This is clearly a love heart for Dark Souls 2. Nothing to do with the charity at all, I'm sure. Uh, we've got a $50 donation from the Evil Wolf, which is a huge donation. So thank you very much for that. Saying Dark Souls 2 is good for your heart. You heard it here first, folks. Dark Souls 2 being clearly the best Souls coming out here.
I'm glad we are on the same page. Maximum underscore, thank you also for the $10. Very, very generous. It all adds up. V Sweat dropped a massive $100. Thanks for
Off the
everyone coming
bomb.
out to the event. Wow. Extremely, extremely appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for all the donations. Keep them coming for the great cause. And Dark Souls 2.
Especially Dark Souls 2. This could be the best thing Dark Souls 2 brings to the world. Ooh, I'm very, very uncomfortable around these enemies that Ritual's dealing with, the Lone Shadows.
Yeah, thankfully those are actually weak to dark as well. So Ritual
Uh,
has clearly picked the right class here.
wait a minute. Did Gino get fully poisoned, or am I?
Yeah,
That is
he
an
got
okay. That is
he
an
got fully
okay.
poisoned intentionally, and I believe he'll be healing and getting poisoned again to try and set up RTSR.
Oh, very
I
nice,
believe.
very nice. We do have a distinction that maybe is not entirely obvious, but being poisoned by the environment is typically considered fine as long as the environment is not a trap or an enemy, in which case it does count as a hit.
Yes.
Nothing's changed there as far as I know, rule wise. Now, Straight here is an absolutely amazing source for many dark hex magic sorceries, but notice that he bought two of the same spell. Now, why is he doing that? Pigeon, do you know? Can you tell us?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
He picked up two Dark Orbs. I believe it's just for late game attrition. Some areas, such as Shrine of Amana, I believe he'll be using that to just clear out a load of enemies in the area. Unless he's
That
doing some really fast strats, then I would
you
imagine
did
him to take
realize
his
that it
time.
must be very confusing for people that have played other games where you just have a mana bar and you just like there's no point in having multiple of the same spell. But in Dark Souls 2, if you have multiple of the same spell, you can attune it multiple times. And that's why we have multiple Dark Orbs, so that you can have even more casts. That's what I was trying to hint at.
Yeah, I, yeah, I couldn't said it better myself. We're gonna see Deadeyeee here going to Ruin Sentinels. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
The Ruined Sentinels are an amazing boss that is weak to strike and lightning. Now, lightning will be brought, so that's a big source of damage already. There are three of them. And the first one fights you on a very tiny platform on which you really want to stay, because the moment you drop down, the other two will join in. The other two also join in if you kill the first one. So right now it's a 1v1, and then this turns quickly into a 3v1 or a 2v1, depending on the circumstances. The bosses are prone to falling off this little platform, but they'll get back up, and it's a good time to drop a bunch of fire bombs on them. A little trick that some players do is to kill one boss right as they alert the others, but it doesn't seem like Deadeye really cares about that. He's just going to instead do a bit more damage just to make sure he doesn't have to deal with multiple. That is really nice damage, man.
That's
Oh
some
my
great
goodness.
damage. Yeah,
Yeah, he does not have to worry about any gimmicky strategies. The moment this boss jumps up, he's gonna be dead. That is beautiful.
very
That
clean.
animation of them jumping up leaves them wide open, and it's just great.
Yeah, I want to
Meanwhile,
point out there actually as
oh yeah,
well. Deadeyeeee is actually using a +4 rapier here, I believe,
what?
and a +8 bow, I believe, from
Yeah,
what I saw. So he's opting for slightly lower damage for when people are up close and personal to make his running sections and bosses like this just easier to sort of melt down from a from a
Something really
distance.
fascinating is happening also on Ritual's side of the board. He's aiming with binoculars to precisely hit the boss on its weak points so that he loses his limbs, which slows him down a bit and prevents him from doing certain attacks effectively, which is really, really cool. He just cut off his arm by aiming his dark orb at it. It's so nice.
Now,
Meanwhile, Beth is
Beth,
going through. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Beth is going through Silver here. She's only in the first section here. She's just basically come from the Rotten Bonfire. She does have Homeward now, so if she has any further Forlorns, it's the one spell in the game, the one way in the game, I should say, to avoid a Forlorn
Yeah.
interaction
It's
directly.
kind of
Sh-
crazy that we've had two so far.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a big day for the Forlorn lady,
Also, extremely worth noting is the fact that Beth did get another
and she
forlorn,
gets another Forlorn.
but she's gonna go back so far. She didn't trigger the bonfire up there, did she?
She didn't grab the extra bonfire here, but
Oh,
luckily the
this.
running section is not
Yeah,
too much of a problem
yeah.
normally.
It's only gonna be, well. If you missed it, you're gonna see it again. Beth has to repeat this
Well,
entire section
and
because of
if
that.
you for some reason close your eyes now, you're going to see it again on Ritual screen. He's
Well, stop
also
closing
going
your
to
eyes so
Silver
much.
here.
You're gonna miss everything, chat. Do not blink, or you're gonna miss 5 Rottens coming up soon. Gino bringing home a bunch of upgrades bought from Vanguard, I believe. That will be helpful for the rest of the run. And by upgrades, I mean resins.
I don't know where to look. There's so much going on.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very nice. Forlorn not there this time, as you almost vaticinated. Homework actually does allow you to dodge the Forlorn invasion, so that was really nice. Well done. Good
It was
planning.
scripted. We planned it.
Oh, ritual! Goodness
Oh,
gracious.
nearly,
Okay.
nearly,
Yeah. So
gets the
ritual.
speedrun skip.
Yeah. Oh, did he take a hit just now? No, he's fine.
No, a
Ritual
little
did
bit of fall
a
damage.
speedrun type run and did a very ambitious jump that can go wrong, but he has a cat ring, didn't suffer from it, and he's back without much problem now. Watch out here, you can be hit in the back by that, but looks good.
Yeah,
Some
so
schools
the DLC,
happening.
just for those that are asking, there's basically a few things that you might want to collect from Shilva.
Yeah.
In Beth's case, it will be a +7 longbow, it will be ascetics, and it will be the Flynn's ring, which gives you insane damage in this game. It's a flat +50 AR at the level that they're at the moment.
Love
On
this.
ritual side of things, he will be grabbing potentially some dark stones, some twinkling titanites to upgrade his weapons. Um, and I think that's probably about it. The only other
Yeah.
thing to note is the poison knives that Beth just collected, and the Sanctum Mace, which will help them set up Artisar later.
Right. Wow. There's so much to unpack. Yeah. As we mentioned, with two different catalysts to upgrade, that means that you have a much greater need for upgraded materials. And luckily, this place that is such an optimized run. Oh my goodness, that can absolutely damage you. So he waited really well there. Rituals. Meanwhile, Gino about to destroy the most difficult boss in the entire series. So let's not talk about that very much.
We all
And
want to see Jabba die. Let's face it.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question, Pigeon, and if you answer it successfully, I will be mad impressed.
Okay.
Which damage type, blunt, strike, or slash, is this enemy weak to?
Which one? Covetous?
Yeah.
It's thrust.
No, it's slash actually.
Is it really? He's so weak to
Yeah.
thrust as well, though.
Oh well,
Are you
maybe he is to
sure?
both. I'm pretty sure he is more. I'm pretty sure he's more susceptible to slash. Actually, it
To
seems
be
like
honest,
enemies that have exposed skin are weak to slash.
I think this is one of those cases where it doesn't matter too much which
No, it really
type you're
doesn't.
using.
That's the
You
sad part. It's gonna die
you can grab
regardless.
rapier and you can kill him in probably 8 hits, maybe less. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Oh, really interesting strat from Gino. He blew up a firebomb on the ceiling to oh goodness gracious to
Yeah.
hit through the ceiling and aggro this enemy, which can
Ooh.
otherwise be kind of tricky and be a
Oh
bit
my god,
troublesome.
Ritual is going through an area right now which is littered with enemies that are
Yeah.
incredibly hard to deal with.
Why?
And he is just barreling through them
Oh,
again.
oh,
Just
yo, watch out.
eat.
Indiana Jones style prep comes in. I love that bit. That room is so cool. He's picking up some souls, I believe, from here, and also he'll find, as you said, the dark
Uh-oh.
upgrade, the dark infusion.
No, this
No,
is
this is the
lightning.
kindling.
It's
Yeah.
lightning and bleed that's here. The Darkstone's
Ah,
on a platform earlier, which is kind of risky to jump to, so it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't do it. He already has a dark infused weapon, so I don't
yeah.
think he bothers with it. Maybe.
Wow, that's very impressive memory, Pigeon. Well done. Beth braving through this area again because she did not use the in between bonfire. She has to do this several times. Find it. I guess this is the fastest way, but I do find it very taxing to have to go through this very stressful place multiple times, knowing how many things can go wrong.
I think the difference in time between taking the bonfire and not is again, it's only a very small margin. So this is clearly a very
That's
optimized
crazy. That's crazy to me,
for
just how
speed.
committed these people are. Notice that Deadeye takes damage from the environment, the fire oily pits, to set up his red tearstone and go for yet another rotten. Definitely the
I don't know if you caught
fastest.
that
Mhm.
on Ritual's side there. He just ran straight past the ghosts there, grabbed the key that he needed, and just got out of there. He just
Well,
homewarded
I
straight
did
out.
see the last
Didn't
bit
deal
of
with
it.
them.
Really? He didn't even bother to make them fall or anything?
No, just no respect.
What?
Just get in, get out, job done.
Jesus. That oh man, knowing just how easy it is to lose a run to anything there, I have so much respect for people that do things hitless and fast. And here we're going to see Beth take the most important item in this entire place, the multiple bonfire ascetics that you told us about earlier. This will allow her to kill the boss multiple times. And the reason we see these players kill the bosses multiple times is to farm souls. If you farm souls up to 1,000,000, the game acknowledges that you're a pretty badass dude and lets you go straight to the second half of the game without actually killing all the bosses that you normally would in a normal playthrough. So that's the gimmick that everyone's doing here. And the crazy part is that Gino is not going for a 4 rotten farm. He's going for a 4 old Iron Kin farm. And this thing that he's doing right now is very interesting. He's
Yeah.
what? He's waking up the what? What is going on? He woke up a mimic, and now
Yep.
he's doing drugs. Oh God! He just he just he just whacked him on the back of
It's
the
like a
head.
horror
Okay,
movie.
Jesus. This is so ridiculously entertaining. It is fun to commentate a run that you kind of see coming. No, that is so unfortunate. What even hit him there?
Oh, Gino got hit by the
No,
backswing of the weapon there.
no.
That
Who
is
gives
not
such
okay.
generous hitboxes?
You can see him
Oh,
shake
dude.
his head there. That is just absolute
No,
trash
dude.
from the
Gino,
game
as
there.
talented as he is, just has a knack for getting hit by the most absurd, ridiculous things, and I think that was one of them. He dodged the initial attack and got hit by like the last bit of the spear pole.
I would
Oh,
just
that
like
is
to point out the absolute pace that Deadeye is going at here. So Deadeye has not only completed like the first few bosses and portions of the game, but he's actually killed all four Rottens now, I believe. So he is
right.
on his way to Drangleic Castle, which starts basically the second half of the game. This is a fair way in advance of anyone
Right.
else at the moment.
Right.
Ritual's
So
farming Rottens at the moment. Beth will be doing so soon. Um,
I'm still kind of baffled, and I feel like I need to explain this for myself more so than the audience. But the way Deadeye got enough bonfire ascetics to kill the boss that many times is he had one as his starting gift,
yep.
one from killing the congregation shortly after, which we saw him do, and then he also picks one up on the. What does he pick the last one? Pigeon? Humor me.
It's the one in Bastille.
In the
Just
Bastille.
after Rune Sentinels.
Oh, that's right. That's why I feel like we are missing something. That is actually the lesser popular route that you see runners take. Many people take their chances with the Flexile Sentry, which is an alternative way of doing that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Personally myself, I see Rune Sentinel being done less, even though it's a much
I
faster, much easier
I
boss,
agree.
and
Yeah,
the area is trivial.
yeah.
So I yeah,
Okay.
I would disagree with doing Flexile unless you have really no other choice.
I am 100% in agreement, and I'm also 100% in amazement watching Gino do this horrible harpy of a boss. Literally, that is so
So
tough to do with high levels. The only saving grace of this boss is that she's squishy and dies in a few hits, but with level one, that's not even the case. This boss has poison that heals her, has extremely fast attacks, some questionable hitboxes. Oh man, I hate everything about it. And she's gone. Well done by Gino.
yeah, this is probably the hardest boss that Gina will fight in the run. As you said, you're exactly right that this boss has some insane hitboxes, some range, some extremely fast moves, and as you say, the hitboxes are just uh, not perfect, shall we say? As you say,
Generous,
the
generous. They are
generous
generous.
hitboxes. Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Funnily enough, coming up is also one of if that was the toughest boss. Allow me to say, I think personally this will be the toughest area.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think the main reason why I think this area is why this run is insane is this next area. And Gino can take now three, I believe three of the bonfire ascetics from these hot coals, which by itself is like a little mini game. It's kind of tough. Do you think he's gonna do that?
I
Yeah,
hope not, because that is scary as hell. But I don't know where else he's going to get the
he
ascetics
has
from.
to. He has
I
to.
think he has to. I think he
So
has no
yeah,
other choice.
yeah. The only reason you can buy one of those ascetics from Cloan,
Yeah.
the NPC that you just saw him go by that he found in the valley, but that's not enough. You still need more.
Yeah,
And I
you
think
still
he's
need
gonna
two
have
more.
to walk through the calls that do like at level one they do like 40% of your health in one tick. I
Oh,
don't know. I'm very
yeah,
very scared.
yeah. And unless you go into those coals with high fire resist, you've gone out of your way specifically to find some fire resist.
Yeah,
They are gonna absolutely, well, literally melt you.
yeah. Funnily enough, we now see Ritual, who melted the giant with his darkness weakness, go against the Rotten, who I believe is resistant to dark.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's fighting a bit of an uphill battle there. Notice again that his limbs are missing, and he has to do these really silly animations where he cannot hit you, or he can, but you need to be very close. All right.
Also, Beth is, I believe, on her final Rotten now. I believe this is Rotten 4. Interestingly enough, she's not been going for RTSR. Some runners
Yeah.
choose to do RTSR for the extra 20% damage, but some runners are just that little bit scared of potentially needing to roll an
Yeah.
attack and panic and hitting the fire and dying.
Okay, Pigeon, make me feel better. You're one of the people that doesn't set up the red tear stone there, are you?
Uh,
Um,
if I'm hitting Rotten for less than 1,000 damage, I don't know. I can't deal with it.
okay, okay. Well, I am one of those people that cannot do that, or my heart just can't take it. So I'll do it a bit slower. I won't damage myself. But yeah. Luckily for Gino, he is not playing Scholar and doesn't need to deal with this insanely ridiculous NPCs that spawn and harass you here. And this area will be slightly easier because he's not playing in Scholar. So that's a small nice thing.
Yeah, it is very, very small, the difference. The enemies here are still extremely fast, deal loads of damage, and have high health, especially for a soul level 1 character to fight. But he'll be fighting, I believe it's just like 2 or 3 less of them.
Yeah. This area, this whole area works a little bit different, and it is a bit more pleasant. But that reminds me, I believe that those ascetics are those ascetics even there in vanilla? Oh man, I
I,
really don't
I
know what Gino's up to.
I think we're about to find out.
Yo, he did grab the fire resistance ring
Yeah,
and used it
from
to set up his own
Rosebeth.
red tear stone. Yeah, so he does seem to be able to do that. I don't know if he will though. Meanwhile, Blink once and Deadeye is out in a new area. He is in an area right now where I think you need to unequip the the stunning ring,
Don't ring? Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
the stone ring. The stone ring in this room can actually be to your detriment because if you stun these enemies, they actually attack you faster. But I don't believe he even got it. Did he?
No, I'm fairly sure he didn't actually.
Deadeye
Him
is
using the
just
mace there is again striking well striking their weak point with strike damage. So he can clear that enemy up and just
okay.
rest at the bonfire,
Okay, Pigeon,
clear
can I
things
ask
back.
you another very unusual question? Just
Go
because it threw
ahead.
me off. These enemies right here, the what are they called? Royal soldiers? No, they're not called royal soldiers. They're
The
called
ones with the
something.
spear rather than the ones with the sword. Yeah,
This, yeah, no, these ones that also appear in the Bastille. What are they
oh,
weak to? Do you know?
they seem pretty weak to thrust.
Yes, they are weak to thrust, and I didn't
Yeah,
know that. And there was
it
this one time where I swapped my weapon for another one that was stronger, and I hit them, and they didn't die, and I lost a run to that. And I'm still mad about it. Damage types in Dark Souls 2 are very important, and all of these runners need to know about that and plan around it, which just makes this run even more impressive.
So let's focus on Deadeye here. He's about to go into the
Mhm.
Dragon Rider fight. He'll be shooting the first one here to get him to fall down and
Now
then
we see
finish him.
why that bow is upgraded more than the rapier.
Yeah, already down to
It's
half health. All he needs to do is dodge a couple of attacks there, which he does very, very
uh
deftly,
yeah,
and then it's
he
down
did
to a
make that
one-on-one.
look so simple, and it can go so wrong. There's so many little things that can happen there that will put you in a really bad situation. But that was done well and very fast as well.
Yeah, no messing around. It was a one roll for 2 attacks. Can't get much more value than that. And they go down. GG to Deadeye. We're seeing an interesting strat coming out from Gino here. He's trying to pass through
Yeah.
the area, but the enemy is sort of playing peekaboo with him above this
Yeah.
ladder.
So why is he not taking the right side of of this arena? Why is he not going through the right side? Why is he taking this ladder instead of sticking to the right vision?
So the middle area here, he just has to deal with this one enemy that he can cheese from down at ladder. Not too much of a problem. The other one, the other route, the right hand route, has a behemoth of a boss that
Yeah.
does insane damage, is extremely fast, AoE damage, and like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a fun time
it
for a
is
soul
so
level
much
one
worse
character.
than the actual final boss of this area. I love this strategy, by the way. Going through this room as quickly as Gino does
Ugh.
is super tough. And wait a minute, wait, what? He attack?
I
Wait.
believe if you attack the enemy once, it changes their trajectory of where they run.
Oh no, no, Gino!
Oh man.
No, this is bad.
Do
There
you
was
guys know what
no
that means?
bonfire. No,
He's
he
gonna
has to
run
do it.
all the way back through again.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna spawn back in like the starting area at the start of the game, pretty much. Oh, that is
Things
absolutely
betwixt.
heartbreaking. There's the Red Tearson setup again. Oh, that is so sad. I feel so bad for him. He's doing a much trickier run into uncharted territory. No one's really done any percent like this consistently, and these are some of the downsides of it. These very unpredictable enemies. Meanwhile, Deadeye has decided to take a little break. He's going too fast, and he's just waiting here,
Yeah.
and touching the camera
Let the
for
other
some
runners
reason.
catch up.
Yeah. He's honestly a great example of sportsmanship. Just allowing everyone to catch up. That's very, very nice. You love to see it. This is a charity event after all.
Oh, and Beth here is actually going for another spell here. So she's been slowly leveling up her intelligence and faith stats. Not only to use Homewood here, but I
Mhm.
believe she's also going to grab Dark Weapon from Felkin here, which
Oh,
is a
really?
spell. It's a spell weapon buff, which increases your damage, and it can be used on weapons that are also infused. Which is a unique property of that. So I believe she'll be grabbing that, going to infuse her weapon, leveling it up to maximum, and the damage that she'll be outputting, especially with the Flynn's
Oh,
ring she grabbed from Shulva, is going to be astronomical.
that makes a lot of sense. And one nice thing about the fling ring is that it doesn't have any penalty if your weapon has multiple damage types. Unlike the other popular Ring of Blades, which gives less boost for weapons with mixed damage, Flint Ring doesn't have that issue at all. So yeah, I can totally understand where that big damage is going to be coming from. Meanwhile, Gino has to lick his wounds and go back through this horrible area. Honestly, the thought of it just makes me just roll my eyes. It's so difficult to go through here. To have to do it twice just sucks plainly. But he's not getting impatient. He's doing it really, really well. And off he goes.
I'm super interested in seeing how this later half of the game works out here.
Yeah.
Deadeye is only maybe what 10
Yeah.
minutes ahead of Ritual here. Ritual is known for some really speedy strats
It's
in the late
crazy.
game.
It's crazy.
Um, so I think we're gonna have a really close like battle between the two. One going for maybe slightly more safer strats, and Ritual going for just that tiny bit faster. Is he gonna catch up?
I love the way you can actually buff your weapon while the enemy turns around and then lure it into this insane. Look at that! This insane AI loop where you know which attacks are coming next, and you can literally just walk around them.
Yep, just a little sidestep, and then you can
Oh,
spam
and that's
R1
gonna
to your
be it.
heart's content.
Yep. Oh, it is one of the few things that I will say is a little bit easier than it looks once you understand it. It's one of the few
Once you've got the
things.
hang of this, yeah, totally agree. However, if you had lower damage than these runners do, if you were doing a run, for example, where you don't upgrade your weapon, that
Mhm.
loop does run out of time. You only
Yes.
get, I believe it's 3 cycles
3. Yeah.
before the Mirror Knight will snap out of it and
Oh, wait, is
start
Beth gonna close the
eating you.
door? Beth, look! Ah, she
Oh
closed
boy,
the door. Them
lock him in.
goofballs. I love that. Thank you, Beth, for doing that. And those guys, are now chilling with the homies inside that room. I love it. That's great. Watch out. You can be hit through there. Nice. Great patience from Beth.
Waits it
Love
out.
love this. And while everyone is running from place to place, and it seems like we have a minute of respite, we can also read some donations real quick.
Oh,
We
good
had
one.
one
Yes.
from X111, aka 13. Thank you for the $5. Really, really means a lot. Jens, thank you so much. Yes, this is Scholar. Thank you for the $10. Extremely kind. And Ninja, Dark Souls is boring.
Ninja.
Can we play Fortnite instead? We'll talk to
Real
the
ninja?
organizers. I believe so, yes. And we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. No promises, but those $30 are still extremely appreciated. Remember, we are raising funds for the American Heart Association, and the job they do is just fantastic, and it's something that helps everyone. So it is extremely, extremely appreciated. Thank you so much for anyone that has donated or is considering donating. Not a dollar of it will be wasted. Thank you so much.
So Deadeye here is going through the best area in the game,
Yep. Tell me more
also known
about
as
it.
Shrine of Amana. The enemies are fast, the water is deep, and the hitboxes are terrible. What else can you say about this area? He will be using his upgraded bow to safely deal with these enemies from the furthest possible distance he can.
Ritual having an extremely tight dodge after dodge against the Dragon Riders, and I do believe what he just broke the guard of the. I have never seen that.
I've
What?
not seen that ever before
What?
either.
That is crazy. Yeah,
But
no,
then he has
I
the
totally believe
discipline.
that. Yeah,
He has the
I
discipline to stand still afterwards, wait for the attack to come, so he can get a better punish off. Really good stuff from Ritual.
I really believe you now when you say that he might just catch up to the insane pace of Deadeyes because
Yeah,
that is really really speedy.
yeah. It's the damage that Dark
No
Hail
no
does.
no no no
Oh
no no
my
no
god,
no!
the
What is happening?
oh dear, he didn't
I
even get to pick up his souls on the floor.
uh, no, this is
Oh
heartbreaking.
dear
Gino
god.
clearly had some kind of strategy that he must have been really confident in that just now just didn't work. Dark Souls 2 is just it's just not
It
feeling it.
has,
And I
yeah,
can't tell you
it
what it
has
is
different
exactly.
plans. I honestly don't know. Gino is running low on arrows. He's got no souls.
Oh
It's gonna
no.
take a lot of work to get back into the race, to be honest.
Oh, thank you so much, Evanti, aka Nina, for also donating $20 for such a great cause. Thank you. And it's
Oh,
funny,
and we
this is gonna be one of the few times where we see all runners in completely different areas.
also we got a couple more donations. We got one from PlayedMax for $7. Let's get those hearts beating like the ambience of the gutter. Thank you very much for the donation. And we got one from Silo. No Dragon Rider parries, runs invalid. Yeah. So if you guys didn't
Don't
know,
worry. There are some extra Dragon Riders
yeah,
in the later parts of the game. That can still
yeah,
happen. That can still happen. Hold your breath.
we've still got one more Dragon Rider to go. I wouldn't call it off just yet.
Oh
Ritual also
no!
taking a bit of a
Oh, that
time.
is. I believe you might have missed it. Beth
No,
took a
I
3-hit combo from
ouch.
these extremely nasty Falcon Knights.
Is that dodgeable after the first one?
I
I'm not even
believe,
sure.
Juge, the referee will get out for that one. But I believe there were separate ones, and it was just the very unfortunate set of rolls that set her up for like hit after hit after hit. But I think it might count as 3 different ones at least, or at most rather.
Yeah. Okay. Deadeyee's coming up to a fog gate here. Wait.
Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong, but mm, there are some enemies here that can be ignored. No, these are not it. You
No.
need to deal with these, unfortunately. I've seen some people try to come up with strategies to do this part fast, and I tell you, all of them look absolutely insane to me. I
Yeah.
am yet to see something in this place that looks remotely safe and fast. But this is a pretty good compromise.
Yeah, having the +8 bow here really makes a huge difference on the
Yeah.
damage there. If he went the other way around, had a +8 rapier and a +4 bow, these enemies are taking 6 or 7 shots to get down, potentially even with headshots. The
Yeah.
damage is really that low.
Yeah.
But
The bosses are sometimes so well studied that you can afford to do a bit less damage and do just rely on the buffs for the damage. Having the bow be strong outside of boss arenas, I think, is a massive boon. And this is actually a good time also to talk about the fact that most of these enemies are standing on water and take more damage from lightning. In fact, even Ritual, who's fighting right now, the Mirror Knight, could benefit from this because they are soaked in rain. Enemies take more damage from lightning actually,
we're
and
going to
less from
see the
fire.
same strategy from Ritual here for the Mirror Knight. The difference is he's using the Dark Hail spell, which he
Mhm.
can, again, just absolutely spam in Mirror Knight's face. And the damage is actually crazy on this. He's dealing like almost 1,000 damage per hit there, which is incredibly high damage for this fast, this early in the game.
I'm also very impressed. All the runs that I've ever seen like this, where the runner sets up some kind of like cast only thing, they are very slow. No, okay,
Oh,
Beth
this
is honestly on a terrible, terrible stroke of bad luck.
yeah,
Another,
this is what is
another.
this the fourth forlorn?
I think it's her third. We had one in Shulba, one here, and one in the Black Gulch.
In
Either
Gulch, yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah,
getting 1 or 2 per run is already unlucky enough. Getting
yeah.
3, I think, is almost unheard of. That is so unlucky. and it's a particularly nasty one too. Even though she had the means to teleport out, I don't think she had the time. So, or maybe the willingness. So that
I
sucks.
I don't think she had homeward attuned actually.
Oh,
If I'm
because
looking at
she
her
only has,
screen now,
yeah. You don't
she has
see
dark weapon.
multiple spells in Dark Souls 2 if she has multiple, but maybe she only has one.
No,
Do you?
I
Oh,
believe
you do. You
no.
do see them. You
You
do see them
you see a
actually. Yeah,
tiny
no.
box. Yeah, you
Yeah,
would see
yeah.
it.
In fact,
So
yeah, you could see it in Ritual right now. You can see how there's multiple spells attuned, and yeah, she just did not have the one spell that could have saved her. Either way, it would have still slowed the run down considerably.
oh
Just
yeah, after doing a big running section like that, not ideal. Now you'll see Ritual here picking up some speed. He's running up close to these guys and he's just dark orbing them in the face. Like I said earlier, this spell is used for attrition. Um, its damage is still very good at this point in the game, but for clearing out enemies like this, it's absolutely ideal.
I believe it one. I saw him
Yeah,
one shot the enemies. That's so
I
nice.
I think that might have been headshot damage. But Ritual's
Oh
a keyboard and mouse player as well, so he's
yeah.
used to aiming
Ah
very well with those binoculars.
wow. Now, Pigeon, why does he not aim to the head of these ladies?
Because they don't have a headshot hitbox.
Why not? That's always puzzled me. Yeah,
You know,
that is a
just to
really
make this
strange thing.
area even worse, they've just got to throw in these extra enemies that don't have headshot hitboxes.
Right. Yeah,
Ooh,
for some reasons,
that was too close for comfort.
they are some of the only enemies in the game not to have a headshot multiplier. And here we see the thing you anticipated earlier, Beth using a big mace that inflicts poison on yourself to poison herself and just lose health over time, which is a nice way to set up the red tear stone, which is extra damage when you're low on health.
Now, I'm sure
Gino
all
about
eyes
to
are on
contest.
Gino here.
Yeah.
Is
Do
it
you
going to
think
be
he's
three
gonna
times in a row? I don't
he's
think
gonna
so.
he's gonna commit to this strategy? What's going
Yeah,
on?
you just know it's going through his head. You know it's going through his head. Yeah, look.
Okay, okay, but I have a question. That night, that alone night from before, oh, I think it just died somehow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
Oh,
explaining earlier, before Gino got splattered into the floor, that if you hit that knight once on vanilla,
yeah.
instead of him running straight after you, it changes its trajectory, which means that it runs straight into the lava. Which
Wow, and there's that
obviously,
big of a delay?
yeah, apparently so, by the looks of things.
Oh no, the second ironclad did not die to the falling guillotine, but it was handled regardless. Ooh, big relief. A checkpoint is right ahead, and Gino should be fine for the time being, and about to catch up to the other players that have already done the rotten. Still very
Yeah,
impressive that he's even managing to go through this. I cannot commend him enough.
yeah. These running sections, these bosses are just much harder to
Yeah.
deal with than some of the other any% bosses we've seen.
Mhm.
Not to mention that Gino's also doing it on level 1. Um,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
I
make no mistake, this is not a run for the faint-hearted.
yeah, yeah, no, you're right. That's even worse. Oh god, Jesus. To have the confidence to even attempt something like this, I think is already very impressive. Meanwhile, Rituals is about to wrap up the final bit before the boss of Amana. He gets invaded here by a scripted invader, and this is very tense. You need to open this door, but if you open it too quick, it cancels. And if you open it too late, you will be shot. You will be shot in the back. Many runners check behind them to make sure that they're fine. I don't know if Ritual is going to bother. Nah, he's fine. Oh,
No.
but you did see that, right?
Oh, okay. Deadeyee's coming up to this area here, where he has to turn
Oh
these enemies around quickly.
no! Oh god! Oh
Oh, he
god!
gets
Oh
the
god!
second arrow. Oh, you can see the
That's
relief on his face. He just
yeah,
runs past these enemies.
yeah.
Oh,
Deadeye did not bother to kill a certain NPC that disables that invasion. So he had a bit of a ticking bomb behind him about to catch up,
oh,
but
yeah,
he somehow
right behind
managed
him.
to move them around. And you can still be hit there. It's really scary, and it's just so impressive how Rituals now that I see he's using this shotgun spell constantly from point blank range, just like that. Also extreme confidence from this side.
Yeah, I think that damage you saw. I don't know if you saw one of the numbers there, 970 something. Just absolute monstrous damage. Crazy
Deadeye's
stuff.
He's now going through the final bits of the crypt, and
Yeah,
funny.
and notice he's changed his weapon.
Wait,
So the weapon he's using now is the key to the embedded. It's the weapon that you get from fighting the boss that Ritual just killed, the Demon of Song.
mhm.
The key of the embedded is very unique. It is a basically like a quest weapon. I believe it's the only one in the game of such a type,
Yeah,
which means that it's unupgradable. However, that is countered by it already being a plus 10 level of damage. So it's basically a free plus 10 weapon on a
yeah.
boss that you already would have killed.
I don't know if it quite lives up to another plus 10 weapon, but it has a massive amount of scaling and a really big counter damage, much like the rapier. And at this point, it's basically a superior one. It also has a great move set, stuns enemies mostly fine. The
Mhm.
requirements are not too crazy. And as you pointed out, if you go to New Game Plus, you actually lose it because it is a key. And if you use it, you also lose it. It's quite funny. A very gimmicky weapon, but that is actually non ironically a great weapon for no hit runs. And now
Yeah,
we
and
see the old Iron King.
I just want to point out quickly as well that the key is actually used in speedruns as well. Because it's got that high damage, it's easy to pick up, it's on the way. It does get actually used for certain areas and bosses. And faster than I can explain that, we've seen Beth take out the Dragon Riders.
Right. Now, would you say the old Iron King is about as difficult as Rotten, or perhaps a little bit easier?
I would say harder, personally.
You think it's harder? Ooh, I do. The arena is a bit troublesome. I agree.
Very.
And
It's
and
such a small, tight arena, and he has some
mhm.
huge hitboxes for some attacks. That makes it very hard to dodge.
I personally find it a little bit easier than Rotten. I do have a feeling that Rotten is so like we have studied him so much that at this point we are very good at it. But if you
Yeah.
had to learn these two, I think this boss is a little bit easier to handle. Now, funnily enough, Gino is stepping into the DLC. He does not need a key, unlike the Scholar counterparts, because he has the base vanilla edition of the game. What is he doing here? I think I have a theory, but time will tell.
Go ahead, man. What do you think it is?
I think he's going for some kind of aesthetic. He needs to be able to kill that boss repeatedly, another 3 times or so. Now he has one maybe from his starting gift, and one perhaps that he could have picked up around along the way. But he will need some aesthetic. Perhaps there's one in here. This part is completely uncharted territory. I can't even tell you. Oh yeah, I've done this route or I've seen it. Someone else play it. I don't know what he's doing. He could also be here just to pick up a strange ring that is right up ahead that gives him extra dexterity. And that
That's
might
ex- that
be.
that's exactly it, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
Now, Ritual is doing something a little unordinary here, yet again. He has equipped a shield, and no, he's not blocking with it. He is, in fact, parrying Velstadt. He
Nice.
wants to stand right in his face for that shotgun spell to go off and deal maximum damage. The best way to do
Ooh.
this, make sure the enemy can't hit you.
Yeah,
Just
that
stand
one
there,
attack is
shoot,
extremely slow and telegraphed. You can
stagger
actually
Velstadt
just.
even, and he will go down now. Very, very clean.
Wonderful stuff. Gino, yeah, Gino is about to grab. Wait, wait.
He's gonna do it. I'm sure he's gonna do it. He's back here.
Nah,
He's got the ring
nah,
on.
nah,
What
nah.
else could he be
I
getting?
refuse. Nah, no, he's at 1 HP. No, he can't. No, there's no way he's gonna go on the hot coals. I think he might be going for the key. Gino, what are you doing? Crazy bastard. He might be coming for the key of the Forest of the Fallen Giants that spawns right here that you can only pick up after having turned off the fires.
That could be true. Yeah, I can see that. But what reason would he need to go there?
I don't
I can't think of
precisely
anything.
know.
I'm sure he doesn't want to grab
No,
the Great Shield there.
No, it doesn't seem like it. Oh, by the way, this weapon absolutely slays against this dragon. We see Deadeyeeee
Yeah,
having reached the Guardian Dragon, who, if I'm not mistaken, is weak to magic and darkness, and not weak to lightning somehow, despite being a
yeah.
dragon. But it doesn't
Who
really
knew?
matter. Look at that counter damage.
Yeah. Counter damage on this weapon again, same as rapier, as you said earlier. 140% well, 140% damage. Shows you what quick work it makes of such a big boss.
Yeah. And if you miss the fight against the Mirror Knight, Beth is on it right now. And I love to see that there's no rolling strategy. So that damage is
I
ridiculous.
told you.
Oh
I
my
told you.
god.
This
Oh
if
my,
if you
what is
guys
that?
remember Deadeyee's damage, he was dealing maybe 350, 400 damage per attack.
What?
Beth is
Wait,
dealing
wait, Gino did it.
700.
Gino did it. He went through the goals. He was there to buy a weapon, an armor, sorry, that would resist fire enough to get it. Oh my
No
lord.
way.
He
Oh, and
literally
now he's
just
he's gonna
jumped
go back to the
from.
bonfire and burn them there. That is not an area that you want to do even in a casual attempt of this game, let alone a deathless or hitless one. That is just no. You wouldn't catch me doing that. Let me put it that way. What's in the coals? So in the coals, he grabs 3 ascetics, which obviously allows him to respawn the old Iron King, to progress to Dragon Lake.
And some very perceptive mind in the chat also pointed out that Gino broke a urn of water all over himself, which is typically an embarrassing thing to do. But in this game, it's good because if you're covered in water, you actually take less damage from
Yeah,
fire sources. So maybe
I
that's
think
why he managed to survive, even at level
I,
1 with like 3 health.
I think it gives you about 300 extra fire resistance. In
That
Dark Souls
means
2, you
absolutely nothing to me.
in Dark Souls 2 you can have a maximum resistance of 1000. So if I had 1000 fire resistance, I would take 0 damage from fire sources, for example.
Right.
Um, so
That I
Gino,
believe is impossible in other games, right? There is a
I
soft cap in the way it's
I
calculated.
think
Yeah.
so.
Oh,
And I'm sure it's
oh dear lord! We just saw rituals have a very unfortunate stroke of luck as well. He's doing massive damage, as we said earlier.
oh
The dragon is weak to darkness, but unfortunately, he did get a quick little nibble at his face. That was unfortunate. Oh my lord! Look
uh
at Gino on New Game Plus. Iron King.
this
It takes so little damage.
yeah,
Oh
this
god.
damage is not anything to be compared to Beth's damage here. This is a little bit sad to see the absolute massive health bar of the old Iron King just
Can we
getting
take a
chipped
moment
away at
to
here.
appreciate just how fast we're seeing the catch up happen from Ritual? Like
Oh
he's
yeah,
not that far from Deadeyeeee.
he is on Deadeyee's heels.
Right.
And keep in mind that Ritual's Throne Watcher and Defender is going to be very fast because he can just cast spells right from the get go.
Oh, yeah, and he can probably
So
poison them with dark,
yep.
with
Hmm.
the dark fog. Oh my god, that is a really really strong thing. We haven't really mentioned it very much, but Dark Souls 2 probably has the strongest poison types in the game, in the series. I mean, poisoning bosses does numbers to their health.
Yeah, over 1000 damage per poison proc is no joke.
Oh, this is an area that you need to be away from. You see a
Oh,
stagger there happen that is completely unavoidable, and we do not count that as a hit, but it does throw you off a lot during gameplay sometimes. Okay, on the Deadeye corner of things, we see him deal with the Dragon Champion. Now, there's two ways to go about this. Either you poison and eventually kill him, and then it's completely safe, but it takes a little while, or you just run past him. And it seems like Deadeye is picking the more safe option here of just
yeah.
poisoning and killing him. He is
Definitely
doing a
at
quick
this
job
point
of
in
it, though.
this run, considering how clean his run has been so far, only taking that one poison spit hit so far,
Yeah.
killing this guy with a bow is by far preferred.
I'll tell you one thing though. I hate it. Like when you start shooting and he starts dodging and rolling through absolutely everything, it is so nerve wracking. poison knives being used to finish.
Yeah, finish the job, chip him down a bit further.
Oh, watch
But look
out!
at the damage Ritual's doing. He just three-shot that knight, who has a
Yeah,
huge
I
health bar
don't
as well.
I don't remember 100%, but I do remember many runners using dark arrows against these enemies because I believe they are
Yes.
susceptible to it.
Yep, these guys and the giants and
Oh,
thronies are all susceptible.
look at this! Rituals already using the dark fog to poison, and I do believe that they might they might be really even closer now than before.
Yeah, they're one enemy apart now. All it takes
That's
is a fast giant lord who is weak to dark from
yes,
ritual, and he is caught up.
that's
Keep
crazy.
keep keep in mind as well. Ritual did a jump earlier in the game to speed up his late game. We're gonna see that come in play as well.
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. That's worth mentioning. As a little recap, if you don't know what we're talking about, in the Forest of the Fallen Giants, there is a bonfire that takes roughly a minute and a half to get to, and that can even have a forlorn, which obviously slows you down even further. Well, Ritual doesn't have to worry about that because he's already accessed it by a really crazy speedrun type jump.
Yeah, and Ritual actually pulls ahead now. He's just boned out from this enemy, and Deadeyee's about to do the
What?
same. Ritual
That
takes the lead.
just blows my mind. You compare this to a relatively vanilla run. It is so fast and so impressive.
Yeah,
If I was playing this game right now and I was doing anything remotely close to this, I would be really surprised that I'm this fast. It's really crazy. And talking about the Giant Lord, we're about to see him.
yeah. So fun fact about Giant Lord that you might not know actually, odds.
Okay.
Giant Lord has a what's it called? A like a cutscene that was in cut content that was actually discovered recently.
Right. I believe was it Zuli that made a video about it?
No, I can't remember the guy that did it, but there is a video that came out. I think it was a day or two ago, of him discovering it. I think it's a guy called Radai,
Oh,
Radai.
well, I love content of that type. And Jesus Christ, dude, you would think this is some lousy mini boss in the starting area. Look at the health. This boss has an enormous amount of health, and you don't even see the damage because he's doing it like in little bursts. But goodness me, that is ridiculous.
Yeah,
And even
1200
though
damage per cast is.
yeah, he is one full boss fight ahead of Deadeyes, who was ahead of him basically the entire run up until this point. That's crazy.
Yep.
And I do see what you mean of him menuing during bonfire
Yeah,
transitions.
during warp.
That's also so crazy to me.
It's a tiny little thing that saves them maybe 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, but it's clearly
Oof.
adding all up. It's clearly making a difference.
We have three different bosses going on at once, maybe four.
We're
Could
about
it
to
be
see
that we'll
four.
see four? Oh goodness. So Gino, I believe on his final Iron King, who is a beast, a really strong beast. Look at that damage resistant. Beth, on the other hand, dealing with the Demon of Song, handling it really well. I believe
Yep.
that will be the
She used a
last
bright
couple
bug
hits.
here, so
Wow,
that boss is gonna
yeah.
fall very quick.
Uh, we've never talked about bright bugs, but bright bugs are
Oh,
a an item that was introduced in the Scholar patch or shortly before. That is essentially a big boost of damage and also resistance, but that doesn't really matter so much for hitless runs.
yep. An
And you
extra
only get a
20% of
handful.
damage, and it also works on all damage types. So it's not like RTSR where it only affects physical damage. Bright bugs affect all types of damage.
And you get, I believe, one every time you kill one of the major bosses. One, I
One
believe, or
refresh.
three at the start. Yeah, it's you don't get that many,
No,
and if you
they're a
would
very
want to
rare
buy them,
item.
yeah, they become increasingly expensive to the point where they're not a sound investment. So choosing where to spend them says a lot about the runner and which parts they are most afraid of or which parts they want to speed up the most. Oh, it's so scary to see Gino being pushed to the edge like that.
And speaking of speeding up, we're seeing Ritual taking a very fast Thronies fight.
Wow.
getting close and personal to try and
Oh,
get
that's gonna
hits
be a
out.
double poison. Oh, I hate how the poison actually obscures the vision.
The view,
All right.
yeah. Very lucky that he got a backflip there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not
Okay.
quite a double poison actually. The
No,
defender didn't
no.
quite get enough.
Yeah, I believe they were not as close to it as it might have looked. That being said, the Watcher is it's done. Like wow,
Yeah,
Jesus.
she's one spell away.
Mm. Oh, dodged,
Although,
but hit them regardless. That's so nice. That was a
uh,
super clean kill. And now we're dealing with the final boss. Now, the final boss is a being of dark herself, so she's resistant to darkness, but she's not
mhm.
resistant to poison. So I'm guessing that will be the main source of speeding things up here.
I
As
would
if
assume
they could
so.
be sped up anymore, mind
Actually,
you.
he's using a bright bug, so
A bright bug.
I would assume he's just gonna dark fog and then just start spamming.
All right. Well, let's see it. Wait, wait. They are so close to those damaging
Oh
pillars.
man, yeah,
Oh dear, that is really scary. For those unaware, those little darkness orbs that are orbiting around the boss have an AoE damage around them that is roughly what 5 or 6 meters in radius. So you
yeah.
cannot get anywhere near, or you will take a damage that is considered a hit.
Yep, and they tick extremely fast as well. So if we were to count hits properly, it would be like tick after tick after tick.
Oh yeah, I didn't even consider that. Meanwhile, Deadeyee's about to catch up to the boss room at least, and mind you, Watcher and Defender is easily the hardest boss in an any percent run, oftentimes, especially if you have to do the melee. But I'm guessing maybe a bow and arrow will be used.
Yeah, considering he's using the +8 bow, I think
Yeah,
that's
it
one of the main
makes
areas where he'll
perfect
be
sense.
making use of that.
Hmm. So why exactly can we not just focus on one of them and do a bunch of damage to maybe the weakest one and make it a 1v1 pigeon?
Good point. I was gonna touch on this when we saw Rituals killed, who just killed Nishandra as well. So big GG to Ritual for finishing the fights there. If you manage to kill Throne Watcher or Throne Defender very quickly, and the other one is on high health, they will be able to revive the other one, and then your fight becomes a 2v1 again, and you're back right where you started. So you will
Yeah,
have seen Ritual at the end there. Instead of going for the greedy kill and finishing one off,
yeah,
he actually on purpose started attacking the other enemy to get them low.
right. Yeah, they do revive each other to full health, which is
Yes, yeah,
so devastating when it happens. And sometimes it can happen right as they're about to die. So that's why you need to chip away at their health somewhat evenly, so that by the time one of them is dead, the other one can be quickly taken down. And yes, massive props to Rituals who just absolutely killed it.
yeah. An insanely fast run, especially for the difficulty of his run. I believe his PB for this run is about 1 hour 19, 15, something like that. Ritual is an absolutely fantastic runner, especially for hexes on Dark Souls 2. He's made a real big name for himself. Uh, at least in my heart, with that name.
Right, but it's not just speed that we're measuring up here,
Oh,
it's also the amount of hits, right? And right now,
yeah.
what does it look like for Ritual?
I believe it's on two only. Um, the
Ritual, yeah.
hits the hits were.
Sorry, for Dead Eyes, not for Ritual.
Oh, sorry for Deadeye. He's only
Yeah,
taken one so far. He only took
so
the poison spits so far.
he could come ahead, right? If he were to finish without taking another hit right now.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's still quite a lot of stake for Dead Eyes. And ooh, the rare projectile attack. We have both enemies both with buff blades, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, seeing Thronies have have a lot of different attacks that they can come with. They've got range attacks, they've got fast attacks, they've got delayed attacks, which is, as you say, quite rightly, why one. This is considered one of the hardest fights in the 80%, if not the hardest fight.
Find the most troublesome for yourself personally?
In the 80%? Um,
No, in this fight, which attack do you find the most
oh,
troublesome out of the
the
things that they can
one
do?
where Watcher jumps to the side out of your camera and then
Yeah.
pokes you in the back really fast.
Oh yeah, yeah. She does
I
have. That's true. Yeah, she does have like a sidestep, very nimble jump that can immediately be followed up by a quick stab. And if you're right, if it's close to you, you do not see it. You sometimes need to just like internalize the
on
timing
instinct.
and react
Yeah.
to that. Yeah, and that is super super scary.
Yeah, especially at this point in a run, if you're still hitless, it's yeah, it can do devastating things to your nerves.
Yeah. I personally would not bring them both down so evenly. I think I would kill one way way sooner and just
Yeah,
be confident that I can finish off the other. But
I
this
would
is a
agree.
very safe way of doing it.
There is actually a way, which not everyone knows about. If you do kill one of them first, you can stand in between the one that is down and the one that is still up. If they go for the revive animation, because you're in the way, they will try and attack you. You can dodge the
Right.
attack, punish, and then get back in position.
Yep, that is totally doable, but it does mean that you have to like keep dodging into them.
Oh,
And I think some people find that a bit unnerving because normally you want to deal with these bosses by simply just dodging away, dodging away. You don't want to dodge into them. You might have not even seen all the follow-ups they can do when you stay close. So it is very nerve-wracking. No matter what you do, you're taking some risk here. And now
that is going to
we
finish the
see.
fight with a
Mhm.
couple arrows to the side, and we're on to the final boss.
And one thing that we neglected to mention earlier that is worth bringing up is why do the runners, knowing that they can't be close to Nashandra because of those orbs that damage you, why do they run at her at the beginning?
Ah, yes. So if you don't run at her at the start, there is a very small chance that she will, instead of summoning the orbs immediately, she will run over to you and then summon the orbs, which,
And
as we discussed earlier, is just the worst way to go out.
right, essentially, if she does that, the orbs take up roughly 85% of the arena.
Yeah,
And at that point, you literally have nowhere to run. You might
yeah,
have to bone out, or you might need to be on like this tiny little corner. Remember, this arena has dead dead kill zone edges if you fall off of. So yeah, you need to run
yeah.
to her to trigger her animation of setting the orbs so that she doesn't put them right dead square in the middle.
Now, what Deadeye's going for here, you'll notice he's standing a very particular distance away from Nashandra. If he stands at that distance, there is a
Yeah.
very good chance that she does this beam attack, which is very easy to punish.
Wow,
You get lots of hits off, you get counter damage, and you can see him doing it here absolutely
that's
flawlessly.
crazy.
And
So
he
I
finished the
believe he
run
finishes with one
with
one hit
only
only.
one hit.
Wow, and the one hit. Do we remember what it was exactly?
Yeah, it was he slightly missed a jump in the gulch, and he accidentally got hit
Come
by a poison
on,
statue.
that's not. That's
That's the
okay.
only
I
hit this man took.
I will suggest that it should be half a hit. That should be half a hit. That
Yeah,
should not be
I
even
think
a
we can
full
round that
hit.
down.
Morally speaking, it is headless. So insane run, insane
Yeah,
insane run.
incredible run, incredible speed, 126. Beautiful stuff from Deadeye here.
Yo.
Now, obviously, we still do have other fights going on. We've got Beth taking out Guardian Dragon here, again showing off her insane damage with that infused rapier, with all the buffs, the extra rings, is showing a big increase in her damage here.
Mhm. Yeah, I want to see how much damage this weak to dark enemy takes to this insanely buffed and I think fully upgraded rapier.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. I
Meanwhile,
think
Gino's doing the little funny walk with the dragon rider, who's holding his shield up.
this
Look
is
at
a
this.
similar thing to what we saw Ritual do. Standing in his shield side
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gives
You
you a
you you
easy
you get a lot
to
more
dodge attacks by
chances.
walking around.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
very nice dodge from Beth. That one has deceiving range, so well done. Staying back and switching to the armor that gives the most souls upon kill. Wonderful.
yeah,
And
she's a
similarly,
large bounty of souls now, nearly 400,000. It's gonna make
goodness.
a bit of a difference on the end here.
Well, if we look at the Geno side of things, he's got 700,000 souls.
Yeah,
In
I,
this
I think
economy,
Gino's cheating a little bit by not having to
yeah.
spend them leveling up.
Thank you so much, Ritual, for the amazing run and for the amazing grade.
Yeah,
And thank you, everyone, for
yeah.
coming in.
Great
we
run
have
ritual. Well
we have
done,
a
dude.
few moments of elevator action, so perhaps it is a good time to catch up on some donations.
That is exactly what I was thinking. You read my mind. We've got a donation from the lovely Pants Boss, who just says good luck with a $30 donation. Thank you very much, Pan.
And Calico Morgan also graces us with their presence and a very generous $40 donation. Love the Dark Souls 2 charity events and love odds. Best luck all. Thank you so much, Calico. We appreciate that tremendously. All right. This room is a lot simpler in vanilla, isn't it? Yep. Gino
Um,
now benefiting from
I
that a bit.
I think I would rather fight the Scholar Room personally.
What? Really?
Yeah, that you can you know where the enemies are coming from. You can't accidentally wake any up.
I guess you're right. Oh, that reminds me. There's going to be a huge difference in area, perhaps the biggest one in this run,
Oh yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
Gino catches up to the area that Beth is in right now, the area of dragons. Now, as you can see, Beth is just taking a little zip line straight to the end, but this is just something that you cannot do in Gino's version of the game. In Gino's version, the ladder up to that zip line is a only access from behind type. You cannot have it at the start. So you actually have to go around, and I don't know, that's a bit scary.
Yeah, there is a jump that you can do, which I believe is called ID jump. For the speedrunners out there,
Right.
you can, I think, yeah, ID jump. You can do a little jump, which is quite scary. I would doubt if we would see Gino do that.
Yeah.
But basically, if you miss it, you plunge to your death. If you manage to save it, then you're through just as fast as Beth was here. But you're quite
God,
right. It
Gino is not afraid of death though. If any, I don't put it past him to try something like that. And
oh,
now we
I
see
I
Beth
would be very
dealing
impressed to
with
see
the
it.
very annoying blocking from these enemies. Unfortunately, this part is also very different in Scholar compared to Vanilla. In Scholar, you have these champions, these Drake Knights that you have to kill, and if you kill them, then it's fine. The Dragon Acolytes just they just or the Dragon Champions they just let you pass because you're worthy. But if you try to run past them, then all of these NPCs will immediately start chasing after you. Notice that NPC right there with Beth is completely fine. So you have to kill them. And I think every runner so far has killed them in one way or another.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Uh, there is some good strats actually for running through this area without having to kill the enemies.
oh yeah.
Um, if you run past these first two, you can throw a knife or shoot an arrow at the guy with the big sword coming up,
Uh-huh.
and he will walk away from the door, and you can get through there.
Oh
But the
wow.
problem with that strat is, if you do that in the next room, you have to keep running,
Yes,
which
you
is
can now go back.
terrible.
Yeah. Okay, so now we see Gino, and we might see the thing we talked about earlier where he simply cannot output enough damage due to his level 1 character. And
It's
perhaps
looking
he
close.
will have a slightly different oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
it's
I think it's good. I think it's dead.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's gonna be
he's
close.
oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Now it's anyone's game. This boss is actually quite nasty. Watch out, there's a follow-up to that. He did hear me, I
Oh
think.
man. Yeah, nice, nicely dealt with. Please just kill
Well
him.
done.
Please
Well
kill him.
done.
Okay, we're all
Well
good.
done. It's so crazy. Some of these bosses or enemies even will do certain attacks and you dodge them every time. And the one time you stay close, they actually are programmed to do follow-ups. And if you don't see that coming, I've seen no hit runners get hit by attacks that they've never seen before. Meanwhile, Beth also using poison knives that they picked up from the, I believe, the black, no, not the Black Gulch, the
From Shulva. From Shulva.
Shuba and wait, no, but there's also a bunch in the area prior to the Gulch. I don't know if you need that many, but yeah, well,
Is there?
yeah, yeah, you pick up some
Oh, there's there's not many though.
in
I
the
think there's only
gutter.
2 or 3, isn't there?
No, I think
There's 20 poison arrows
there's
in
20
the
poison
gutter.
arrows. All right, maybe I'm confusing them like that, but oh no, the other thing that is in the gutter is
The
the
poop.
the toxic dung pies actually.
Yeah. So as you said earlier, Dark Souls 2 has two different types of poison damage that you can inflict: poison and toxic. Both can be applied by different consumables and by different spells, which again adds to how good it is in this game. Not only being able to use them both, you can stack them at the same time for increasingly high damage.
I love the fact that the organizers actually listened and listed Deadeyeeee as having half a hit. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate that. Now, if I can be listened to further, I would also like to maybe take off one or two from Gino for the style points. I think that should be considered by the end of the run. Also, because of his funny little blanket that he's wearing, that I really
Or
like.
comfy.
Yeah, he almost looks like these enemies who also have a bit of a blanket going on around them.
It's got like a little robe on.
Hmm. Oh, now that we see both of our players using their bows, one thing that's really interesting about Dark Souls 2 that I'm pretty sure you're well familiar with is the fact that each arrow type has different damages and also different arcs. Some of
Yeah.
them fly more straight than others. Lightning one, for example, has the longest range and the straightest path. Compare that to the fire or the dark arrows; they don't fly as straight, but I think they actually do a bit more damage. So it even in different arrow types, there seems to be something that sets them apart. I've always found that really fascinating.
Yeah, I think Dark deals slightly more damage. I think you're right in saying that. But you're right. The lightning arrows are by far my favorite, being the easiest choice for sniping enemies at a long range. Although, do keep in mind that different bows also have different effective ranges. So certain
Ooh, that is
bows
that is
won't be
true.
able to use the lightning arrows as effectively as others.
So when we talk range, it doesn't actually mean that the arrow doesn't reach as far. What we're talking about is the fact that the damage drop off will be lesser. So
Yeah, effective range. You're right.
yeah, I believe the arrows fly just as far as each other, no matter
No,
the bow.
I think that's incorrect actually.
Oh,
With the black bow, from a
oh,
certain point in the giant lord arena, you can shoot him
wow,
without him being able to hit you. But with the short bow, you're not able to. So I think that
wow.
it's it's not only range but also range
Like effective
effectiveness.
actual range. That's so cool. So now we see Beth take the normal way to this bonfire that we saw Ritual skip basically entirely. And she's headed for the Giant Lord as well.
Yep, down to the last three bosses for Betha.
Now, I don't know about you, but running through this area at the start is a bit nerve inducing. Some players, it seems like Beth, wait until something happens and the enemies become less and less. And some people just run and take their chances. What do you prefer to do?
I prefer to run.
Yeah, I
I've
think I think that once I learned it, I also decided. Oh wait,
Although in the last charity event for Team Hitless, I did get hit in here by doing the fast strat. So it just goes to show that
no.
it is worth taking your time here if you want
Okay,
a very consistent run.
well, Beth basically just showed us.
Oh,
Wait,
and
wait,
here you see it. Yeah.
wait. This is cheating. This is not allowed. You cannot do this. What is
So
this?
in the rules, it states that you cannot kill a boss from outside of its boss arena. Now, the Giant Lord doesn't really have an arena. It's just
Okay,
sort of part of the area.
okay,
So I
but
guess this is fine.
I want to know, was the giant lord consulted on these rules before they were made? Because I don't
Do
think
we
he would agree to this. I
do
don't
we
think
have
he would
his
find this
consent?
very fair. Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking. I don't think he would find this acceptable. But either
I
way,
mean,
it
at least she's not
absolutely
shooting him
works.
in the face hole. I mean, there's always that.
There's the silver lining, sure. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I actually love seeing this. Well, with Red
Oh, and
Stone, that damage is a
using your
bit
bright bug
increased.
for a bit more speed here as well.
Yeah, I think so too. It adds up, honestly, when you have to shoot this many arrows. And meanwhile, Gino is about to enter the Demon of Songs arena. And this is an armored enemy that we've seen several times already. But if you didn't catch it, that exterior shell of this frog looking demon is completely impervious to damage. And you have to wait for animations like this.
Now, some may say that's a disadvantage, but using a weapon with high counter damage, like we've talked about before,
Mhm.
actually doesn't makes this boss not so much a problem. you can deal a lot
Yeah,
of
I guess
damage
I guess you're
very
right.
quickly.
Compared to some other type of weapon, yeah, this does speed it up. That little bit of time where you get to attack means a lot more. You
Yeah,
saw a couple interesting things happen there. Gino hit the hardened shell, and actually his weapon bounced back. If you get a bit greedy, that can be the end of you. But luckily, it was I guess calculated. And another thing that happened that can happen with many bosses is that he hit him while he was doing a grab attack. Enemies and or maybe only bosses from memory in Dark Souls 2 have a massive defense when they are doing grab attacks. So you might sometimes attack a boss and do like 10 or 5% of the normal damage, and it's because they are doing a grab attack, but it didn't really seem to stop him.
the boss is still dead. He's still got through it fine.
And now he grabs that
He's on
key
to
to the
Velstadt.
letter.
I'm interested
Mhm.
in seeing how he's going to deal with Velstadt because Velstadt has some nasty hitboxes. He's got a lot of health, and Gino's here without very much damage.
To be fair, like I feel like Gino's hits have been so difficult. They've sent him back so much, but he's still here after
Yeah,
doing an insane route with some ridiculous enemies at level 1 with only, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 hits.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
and one of those
Two,
hits was the most BS thing you can see. So basically, 2 hits. That's
yeah,
crazy. That
and two hits to the same enemy in the same spot after doing the same thing.
mhm. I still find it most impressive. Now, this upcoming area, I don't think differs too much from normal to vanilla in the context of a no hit run.
For the most part, yeah. The area is exactly the same, but I think you'll remember seeing what the Velstadt arena door looks like.
Oh,
The fog.
funny that you should mention that. I actually don't remember the difference. Could you please elaborate on that, Pigeon?
You're in for a surprise. That's all
What?
I'll say.
What? Really? Oh, now I'm
You'll
scratching my
see.
head.
You'll see it in 2 minutes.
What? Wait a minute. Wait. No, I think I have remember. So in the Scholar Edition, there are no enemies, and they only come out if the bell is rung. But, but, but.
So yeah, in Scholar, those mages only appear when the bell is rung, and there is two Cyan Knights and a final Dragon Rider before Velstadt. That's the only
Right?
enemies there. In vanilla, as we're about to see, there is a whole horde of enemies that are going to stop him from getting inside the door. So Gino is going to have to do either one of two strats here. It's either going to be baiting the enemies away from the door to try and get a bit of room to sort of squeeze in between, or he's going to do a very speedy, fast strat to sort of
Uh,
try and
well,
get in. I I would dread to see that, but I've
I'm
got a feeling that
very,
is
very
on the
scared.
cards.
That's coming up in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, Beth has reached the final 2 sets of bosses. And melee! What?
Oh yeah,
No, that's
beautiful
illegal.
opening.
That is ridiculous.
She could have
It,
even finished it there if she went
I,
super greedy.
yeah, you don't want to. Whoa, no,
Okay.
slight calculation. I think I know what happened.
Oh, she didn't get counter damage on the hit.
Yeah, that was it. She did a bunch of damage and more or less gauged that the next hit should do it, but the next
Yeah.
hit did not hit during an attacking animation and thus did not do the extra 40%. And sadly, that meant that she survived with 1 HP.
Oh,
But
that should have been it. That was such a huge
honestly,
fight. That was
if she
amazing to
got
see.
away with it and killed the boss right there, hats off. That would have been one of the most impressive ways to handle this boss with melee that I've ever seen anyone
Yeah.
pull off. But yeah, massive props. Meanwhile, Gino gets a completely unavoidable invasion here, right? Hold up.
And we'll see the same strat that Deadeyeeee did here, where he
Mhm.
turns the enemy around.
Funnily enough, you mentioned that you got hit earlier. I got hit here doing this. They closed in on me and got me locked up between them. So I no longer trust that right now. strategy is really scary. Opening up a little shortcut bug in the off chance that something goes wrong. This will save a lot of time and headache
Oh yeah.
if he has
Yeah,
to
yeah.
run through here again. I mean, while Beth is catching
Opening
Beth
up
is
a little
catching
shortcut
bug
bug
in
again.
the off chance that something goes wrong. This will save a lot of time and headache
Oh yeah.
if he. Okay,
Are we
I think we're good. Do you hear the
are we
same thing I did?
yeah, I heard it.
Yeah,
I heard two of you.
we
It
had a
was
bit
quite
of
scary.
feedback there. Sorry for the moment of silence, everyone. Me and Pigeon were a little bit confused. Okay, okay, I see what's going on.
You
So
see?
one of the
There's
enemies
there's
was
like
distracted.
there's like 8 sign knights here.
Listen, listen. If you show up there and ask them nicely, I'm sure there is a way. Watcher goes
Or
down on that side.
that's more like
Well,
it. And that was without
we
Brightbug that time.
yeah,
That was
we
with less
mentioned
damage.
earlier that you want to typically deal damage equally to both so that they don't revive each other. But Beth is on such a pain train of a build that, yeah, uh, I
She
think she's
really
just
doesn't
gonna.
need the extra time.
What? Yeah, no,
There you
just
are.
don't
There's the counter
compute the
damage coming
time.
in, and
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna clean up the defender here.
All right. Fender running for the
He's
rescue and done. Very
yep,
nice. And
1,
now
2.
the final boss, which arguably is a little bit simpler than this. Meanwhile, we see Gino summon an entire
Meanwhile, yeah.
army. It's so funny.
I can hear the Benny Hill theme music in the distance. Just these enemies are running around in a circle here.
Oh, what? I really like the
Is he gonna
strategy
get
that
caught here?
Beth did there. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Looks good.
Very
And
nice.
clean.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, Beth did
You
something really fun that I've seen some speedrunners do.
I
She
think I
readied
missed
up
it
an
actually.
arrow, and then when the cutscene started, the arrow shot itself and immediately hit the boss, which is
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
funny.
nice.
I don't know. I don't know if there's like a higher purpose other than just dealing a little bit of free damage at the start. Kind of cute. I liked it.
I mean, I suppose you could go for like a poison arrow. Um, start a tick of poison if you
Mhm.
were going for that sort of thing.
Yeah. You asked earlier what Gino would do against the boss, and it seems like the answer is just extremely tight spacing. He
Yeah.
does not. The hitboxes, as you said, are generous, and mind you, Gino is operating on very low adaptability. He basically has zero room for mistake if rolling through something. So the way his answer to that is to just not roll through anything. He just walks back and forth and dodges everything nearly
And
perfectly.
GG to Beth. She finishes off Nishandra in
Wow.
very cleanly, in good style.
Yeah. And this, and I think Beth's run is faster than anything I've ever done. So that's still very impressive. We'll see the time in a second.
Oh,
Under 2 hours by 50 minutes almost. That's crazy as well.
very good.
And Gino finishing up Velstad. Amazing stuff.
Very clean. Only what, 4 bosses left for Gino now?
um,
Yep.
well, he
I
does
mean,
have a slightly lengthier area, and oh, dude, there's so many things coming up. Yeah, the next few areas are very different. Um, we said that the area can no longer be skipped by the zip line, but we also need to talk about the following area, the Dragon Shrine, which does not have the same mechanic of having to kill one enemy and then the other enemies let you through. In the original vanilla Dark Souls, that area is just filled with enemies, and you have to kill all of them or run through all of them. And I don't know which one I find more stressful. So we're gonna see that in just a minute.
yeah, I don't think I recall seeing this area on vanilla recently actually. So this'll be good to see.
Right. So from my memory, this part doesn't change very much. I think that in vanilla there are just fewer, like the dragon moves at the start. Remember, there's a skeleton dragon in
Oh,
the
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
big
Yep.
manor. It triggers automatically, and he just runs at you. I don't remember if you can run through it or if it's not safe. I guess Gino will show us
Oh,
if you
I'm
see
sure he's
him.
I'm sure he's about to run through this.
Right. So I'm curious to see if he will trigger the bonfire here. If he does, maybe it means that he's afraid something could go wrong.
Oh, he does take
All
it.
right, he does take it. Maybe he will activate this to then skip the other hidden bonfire that's ahead. Because that one takes
Actually,
a few seconds, I suppose.
yeah, this is more on the way, but then this one loses more time if something does
Hmm.
happen.
Agreed. So this NPC that comes up here is actually one of the most pathetic invaders. It's so easy to deal with him, but funnily enough, you don't even need to do that. You can just run past him and he'll just disappear. And now the dragon's gonna wakey wakey. Oh, there he goes.
Oh,
Right,
yep,
you're
he's
gonna
running.
you're gonna run. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Watch out. Watch out.
Uh-oh.
Uh oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh oh.
Okay.
We're fine. Wait, what's going on? Why did he
uh,
return to the previous bonfire?
I don't know, actually. Is he collecting a different item? Is he setting up Artisar?
I think he's changed his mind. He's gonna level up now and
He's
just
gonna level up,
bamboozle
yeah.
us. Yeah, he's gonna put one level into intelligence and then go back. I have no idea. It might be that he forgot to buy some of the.
Ah, get some mob
There
weapons.
you go for 48,000,
What
and
a
somehow
scam.
that's yeah, that's not even a big deal because the man has a million souls in his pocket. He also upgrades a few things that he couldn't afford before. I've never seen someone upgrade through clan because this NPC is typically not unlocked because you don't take that bad. It's so funny that this run is bringing out these elements that you typically don't even get to see.
Yeah, I suppose with no need for Macduff, or no access to Macduff until you get to Iron Keep, I suppose this is the best
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
really.
yeah. Pff, it kind of goes to show that on top of being level one, Gino has been basically beating enemies with like a plus two, a plus three rapier or whatever. It's it just makes it all more ridiculous.
One thing that I did notice earlier that I didn't mention, you'll see that Gino's weapon is actually infused as well, same as Beth's weapon was and
Mhm.
Ritual's staff was. Gino has infused his rapier with a raw stone, which removes the scaling, so the damage that it increases by when you level up the stat, and instead adds a flat amount of damage to the weapon instead of having the scaling. So what it does is it just means that Gino just has a little bit more damage because he's obviously level 1.
Yep.
The advantage of having the raw buff is also he can use a resin on top of it, which is uncommon for other types of buffs. If you were to use a dark buff, you wouldn't be able to use a resin. You would only be able to
Yeah.
use a spell buff.
Right. So it's basically a physical only upgrade path that still allows you to use resins, which is very convenient and definitely will be taken advantage of. And one funny thing about the raw infusion is that there are some weapons that have no scaling. For example, the crossbow that he was using up until recently has no scaling. So a crossbow that's raw is straight up just a straight upgrade.
Yep,
It just
no
becomes
disadvantage
stronger
to
and
that.
has no downsides whatsoever.
Yep, another one to mention would be the Old Knight Hammer, obviously.
Mhm. And some people have done runs with such strange or rare weapons. People have really taken Dark Souls to some extremes. I love
Yeah,
to see it. One interesting thing about the Guardian Dragon that we haven't talked about is the fact that his head actually has a headshot multiplier. So some players kind of wait here and try to hit the head when it hits. Oh, wow, that was so clean! Damn, look at that damage. It almost looked like he
beautiful.
wasn't level one for once.
Yeah, just for a split second there, with all the buffs and rings and everything that he's got, using headshot multiplier.
Oh, watch out. Sometimes when the dragon takes flight, he will do damage around him, and it can be very nasty. But I think Gino just knows the tales of and the telegraphing of basically everything that could happen. He handles these fights really, really well.
Guardian Dragon is a fairly simple boss in comparison to some others, I will say though. He has, let's say, 3 or 4 aerial attacks, maybe.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
but the grounded attacks, I would argue, are much harder to deal with.
yeah, the one thing that's really nasty about this boss is that depending on your damage source, you will find yourself in these situations where you cannot damage it quickly. And if you're doing a kind of speed run or anything that requires speed, it is very annoying. And it just drags on. No pun intended, forever sometimes.
Nice one.
And it seems like Gino is experimenting a little bit, experiencing a little bit of that right now with this very flyy dragon.
It's gonna fly again, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
there you are.
I hate it. And ooh, nice. I might have gone for a hit there. Goes to show
Oh,
Gino is a more
very,
restrained and
very
smart
well
player.
dealt with. I would have
Yeah,
definitely gone for a couple of hits there.
yeah, you would have had your face peaked.
Bitten off. Yep.
Yeah.
And we're going to another elevator here, so do you think it's time?
For more donations,
More
absolutely.
donations. Let's go.
Jens graced us again with $5. Thank you so much. If can I read this out loud, organizers? If a hit is a penis, Deadeye took just the tip. I'm sorry. I'm
We're
sorry. I'm
cancelled.
sorry. I'm sorry. Well, it was quite funny. All right.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in,
Promote.
everyone.
Thank you also for your very generous $50 donation, adding to the total and contributing towards a great cause. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right. Okay. So summary of Gino's run. Everything impressive that he did up to now was in the
Yep.
first half. You've already seen everything amazing, and I guarantee you, he can close his eyes right now and kill Nashandra with 0 hits in like 2 minutes. He can 100% do it. The most impressive bit was how he got to this point. So massive props to Gino for doing something as difficult as this in terms of actual skill, knowledge, and routing. And amazing job to every other runner as well.
Yeah, and massive, props to Gino for even like attempting something like this, going through those areas which are so hard with the pressure that he's got being live on a run. Yeah, incredibly difficult.
It was such a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine.